Happy Friday, Oklahoma. Welcome to the Todd Tucker Show. No tie today. I forgot my leather jacket at home. It's, excuse the casual attire.
Casual Friday.
Yeah, casual Friday. It's kind of cold, dreary, and damp. So here we go. We got a lot to cover today. Some videos, some eye candy for you. And I don't know, should we show eye candy first or talk about the Trump? You know, I got to tell you something. That Chick-fil-A video made my day.
There was
this lady. You know, if anybody knows how to run a business, if anybody knows how to run a drive-through, it's Chick-fil-A. And they know your name. They ask you when you, I mean, I'm not going to ruin the video, but it's just amazing. I know that if I go to Chick-fil-A, regardless of how long the line is, I'm not going to be there long because they have it. I mean, they're efficient. They are fast. And so here's a lady posting on Facebook how excited she is about Chick-fil-A and the way they do business. Let's roll.
I don't know what military base these people trained at, but I'm not mad at them. You got 4 people outside with handhelds, okay, under umbrellas. You got 2 people outside the drive-thru to greet you with your food. It be ready. I was in the line 3.5 seconds. That was to order, pay, and get my food. Baby, let me tell you what kind of training they doing. They is in the military in Chick-fil-A. I'm telling you, they have some training that they're doing. And I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them. I don't understand why I go to Popeyes and I got to wait on hot chicken when all you sell is chicken. McDonald's don't ever have nothing working, and don't let me get started on Burger King. Okay? But Chick-fil-A be killing it. They have a military base that they train out of. I'm convinced. And I just appreciate the professionalism. It's hot as hell out here, but they smiling. Cheese, may I help you? Hello, Miss Carissa. How do you know me? Because I told the girl back there and they communicate. Communication is the key. Fries hot. I didn't even check my bag. And if it's a mistake, then that's what I was supposed to have. That's what I'm saying. Y'all, but I'm emotional right now because in the day we live, people don't even like their jobs like that. But these people, they are on it. They got a scholarship fund. Go in right over your condiments. They say that they give these people a scholarship fund. Take care of your people. Take care of your people and your people will take care of you. That's the lesson today. It comes through Chick-fil-A, but this is what's real out here in these streets. I'm about to eat with gratification. I didn't mind paying for that. I didn't even mind. Swipe my card. Swipe my card, Chick-fil-A. I got a tear. These fries is hot. Smoke coming out of them. Look at that. I'm satisfied. I don't even need no more. Oh my God. And every one of them like that. Not just one. You can't have it your way. You can have it your way. Thank you. I approve this message.
What they say to me at the end of every date: swipe my card, Todd Tucker. Swipe my card.
What?
Swipe my card, Todd Tucker.
Shut up. That doesn't even.
All right, let's talk about some of President Trump's accomplishments here. In less than 2 years of being president of the United States, 4.2% growth in the second quarter of 2018. For the first time in over a decade, growth is projected to exceed 3% over the calendar year. 4 million new jobs have been created since the election, more than 3.5 million since President Trump took office. More employed now than ever before in our history. Jobless claims at the lowest level in 5 decades. That would be 50 years. 5-0. Longest positive job growth in the history of our country. Unemployment claims at a 50-year low. There's that 5-0 mark again. African American, record low unemployment, 5.9%. Hispanics at 4.5%. And Asians at 2%. Why is it Asians have more jobs than the rest of us?
Because they're like the minority that works really, really hard all the time.
There are doctors.
Well, really though, like think of all the jokes about anything. Like Asians are just really good at that.
They are very driven.
They're very much so.
Women, lowest rate in nearly 65 years, 3.6%, and wages for women up. For youth, lowest in 50 years. Vets, lowest since 2001 at 3.0%. High school dropouts. Yes, you can drop out of high school and still get a job. Lowest level. Blue-collar jobs up. The fastest growth in 50 years. And 85% of those blue-collar workers say that we are headed in the right direction, that they feel their personal lives are headed in the right direction. This is all under the leadership of Donald Trump. More than 400,000 manufacturing jobs, 100,000 supporting oil and natural gas. Median income rose to $61,372 in 2017. That's a post-recession high. Wages are up in August this year. Paychecks rose by 3.3% between 2016 and the end of 2017. 3.9 million people are now off of food stamps. Median Hispanic income rose 3.7%. Hispanic ownership is up. Poverty rates for Hispanic and African Americans have reached lowest levels on record. Small business confidence is up. Consumer confidence is up. Only 12% of people polled say the economy is a problem. Only 12%. So 88%, yeah, that'd be about right. 88% of people are pretty happy. 450, I can't read my own handwriting. $450 billion poured back into the U.S., $300 billion in the first quarter of this year, 2018. Retail surge on sales, way up. Worker productivity is up. Well, of course, if you give them tax cuts, if you incentivize them, if you pay them higher wages, if you provide jobs, productivity is going to be up. It just makes sense. You're going to work harder where you're happier. Deregulations galore. We have deregulated all these things, including the individual mandate for Bamster Care. We've got tax cuts, the largest in American history. The border wall has been started, and the Republicans are going to pass comprehensive border wall. In fact, they say that in the next budget, they will completely fund the border wall because that was the will of the American people when they voted in 2016. Bad trade deals have been replaced with good trade deals. Foreign policy, progress. We're not at war with North Korea. The pastor in Turkey has been released. We've got a video on that coming up. In fact, can we go ahead and find that, Frost, and roll that? This is awesome. That pastor that has been held hostage in Turkey all this time has finally been released. If we've got the video?
Yeah, it's an interview with his sister on Fox.
An interview with his sister on Fox News. Let's go ahead and roll the video. The pastor is free finally.
For your family, 2 years now he's been in that prison.
Yes. I remember even now the initial message that we got saying that they had been detained at the police station, and that was the last message they got out for another 12 days after that, for a total of 13 days, no communication at all. And since then, it's been like a nightmare day after day, just waiting to see what's going to happen. In each trial, we were hopeful, and just things didn't quite fit into place, and so we're glad that this is over.
He was detained.
It's been a long time coming.
He was detained and under house arrest, as we know, and his wife is there along with him. It has been a long time coming, and this administration has fought hard for his return home. What's your communication been like with President Trump in the White House?
Well, I went about a year and a half ago and met with several senators. Just even when this whole thing just started, the ACLJ and everyone on their staff has been absolutely incredible, and they have been pressing for Andrew's release and bringing this up and making those contacts with the senators. And I'd like to thank President Trump and Vice President Pence and Secretary of State Pompeo and Senators Tillis, Lankford, Shaheen, Graham, and Corker, just to name a few, have been really working hard on this and pressing on this. And I think a lot of times people will see some cases possibly get more attention than others, and they wonder why. And I think in this case it was the ACLJ being the driving force and, really pushing this and setting up those meetings for us as a family. And I know that their daughter went to a lot of different speaking engagements, just trying to bring, Andrew's case to the forefront. But I really don't believe we'd be here today without the administration that we have in place now, working so hard and so tirelessly to bring Andrew home.
When was the last time you saw your brother?
President Trump once again delivering Pastor Brunson on his way home from Turkey. He's been there for a very, very long time. That has been a big burden on President Trump and something he's been talking about fixing for quite a long time. So we've got hostages who have been released from North Korea without paying a dime. We've got bodies coming back from the Korean War. And we've got Pastor Brunson released now. And it's because of the strong foreign policy of this administration. And if you think about it, if Hillary had been elected president, we would probably be at war with North Korea right now because we were this close. And speaking of which, we've got an election coming up in 25 days. In 25 days. Now, I want to show you one of Drew Edmondson's best friends. Excuse me for a moment. Drew Edmondson voted for her. This was Drew Edmondson's buddy. So as you prepare to vote for governor in the upcoming election, just remember, this is who Drew Edmondson voted for.
Why you gotta be so mean to the cutout?
She just fell down. That's normal for her. So as you get ready to vote for governor coming up, and you've got all these questions, the fact that Drew Edmondson voted for Hillary Clinton should be enough for you, because you are the company that you keep. We know that Kevin Stitt voted for Donald Trump, and we know that he supported Ted Cruz in the primary. And so we've got Drew Edmondson, a big Hillary supporter. So how he can call himself a conservative Democrat when, in fact, he voted for one of the most leftist, vile people, a criminal in America, part of the Clinton crime family, one of the boss members of the Clinton crime family, that ought to be enough to tell you that Drew Edmondson is not right for Oklahoma. Not right yesterday, not right today, and definitely not right tomorrow. Frosty, we've got other videos that we can show. In fact, I got so much eye candy for people today that it's going to be awesome. In fact, we're going to take a quick break. We've got more video. Kanye was at the White House yesterday, and he was speaking with President Trump about all of his great accomplishments as well. And they are talking about gun violence in America and the fact that it's not taking guns away from people that will solve that problem. It's the government getting involved and making gun ownership less restrictive. And when I say the government getting involved, that is passing laws to make gun laws less restrictive. Gun laws, they've got strict gun laws in Chicago, strict gun laws in Detroit, strict gun laws in California, strict gun laws in New York, strict gun laws in D.C., yet you hear shooting after shooting after shooting after shooting. Chicago is a war zone. We'll talk about that and more when the Todd Tucker Friday Show continues right after this.
Do you have problems with pain, anxiety, or sleeplessness? Come see us at Can Help Wellness, where we can help. Stop by any of our 4 wellness centers to find out how premium CBD products can help you find relief. From balms to tinctures to even products for your pets. Natural, safe, organic relief and lab tested with certifications. Reach out to one of our wellness consultants today at 405-455-3012 or online at cann-help.com.
As mentioned yesterday, Kanye West, back in the early 2000s, said George Bush doesn't care about black people. Kanye West says Donald Trump is his superhero. In fact, he says Superman is his favorite superhero, and so he compared President Trump to Superman. They talked a lot about gun violence yesterday. They talked about the situation in Chicago, which is totally out of control. Rahm Emanuel and Democrats have run the city of Chicago forever and ever and ever. But the people of Chicago are starting to wake up. African Americans in Chicago are waking up. My question has been for a long time, where was the community organizer Barack Obama? He was president for 8 years while people were dying on the streets in Chicago. And he didn't seem to be very concerned for a guy that was once community organizer in that city. And that's where he wants to build his big library. Barry's Library with a special bathhouse. So, Ben Shapiro. I followed Ben Shapiro and have been a fan of his for a long time, long before he became a Fox News guy. Ben Shapiro is very, very smart. I learned something about him in watching his TV show, and that is that he was a big nerd in high school, was not very popular. He was bullied in high school, and now he is a conservative superstar. Ben Shapiro has to have bodyguards now because of the left wing's hatred for conservative speech. So whenever Ben goes out to speak, he has to take bodyguards with him. That's a sad state of affairs in American politics when you have to have a bodyguard with you just to speak at a church or on a college campus. Ben Shapiro was pulled over by the police. He's a staunch supporter of law enforcement, by the way. But this is a very interesting story, and I thought I would share.
My producer, Colton, who travels with me when we are on the road, young Colton, we were on the road, and we did an event in Detroit, a great event, and we're with our security detail also. Now, it's both tragic that I have to have a security detail in order to go around giving speeches, but it's also fun in the sense that I really like the guys on my security detail. They're all ex-military, and they're a blast, and they're really a kick. So we go to this event in Detroit, great event at a church, and afterward, there are a bunch of off-duty police officers who are there, who are fans, and one of them says, okay, I know you need to get to the airport. How about we give you a police escort? And I said, okay, sure, sounds great. So this female police officer jumps into her car, and we're cruising down the highway toward the airport to get on our flight, and she's got her lights on, and suddenly, behind us, pulls up another cop, and this other cop pulls us over, and we were like, okay, so why are you pulling us over? And the first thing he says is, because you're following a police officer. And we were like, well, right, because she's guiding us to the airport. And he says, really? That's her? She's guiding you to the airport? Yes, she's giving us an escort to the airport. And he says, well, your brights were on. Like, no, our brights were not on. You're just making that up. And then, because all the guys in my security detail are ex-military, one of them starts to get out of the car to talk to the police officer. And the police officer is getting real uptight now. No, get back in the car. Get back in the car. I'm like, God, I'm going to get shot on the side of the freeway by a cop with a stick up his butt. And here's the part that's amazing. This is the best part. So the police officer who was guiding us there has now pulled over on the side of the freeway as well. And so we say to this police officer, why don't you go and ask the person in that car? And he says, well, I don't know. That's a police officer. And we say, well, that's a police car. And this officer says, well, you know, there are people on our force who go home at night and, you know, they build police cars and they just ride around in them. Now, number one, that's not a thing. Number two, if that's happening and you're posing as a police officer, that's a crime. So if you actually think that that is a person who has built a formal police car and is driving around with their lights on off duty, shouldn't you go arrest the person doing that, 10 feet in front of us and not bother us? Eventually, this police officer goes and actually asks the other police officer what's going on. She says, yes, I'm a police officer. I'm guiding these people. And the guy kind of gives us a stern shake of his head and gets into his car and then drives away. The reason I tell this story is, as you know, on the show, I am very pro-police officer. I think law enforcement does an amazing job overall in the United States. I love police officers. I defend police officers. I'm one of the biggest defenders of police officers in America. The reason I tell this story is because one of the narratives you hear a lot is that police action, when it's bad action, is a result of racism. Something bad happens to a black person, it's automatically the result of racism. I am here to tell you, there are some police officers who are just doofs. I don't know what this guy's name was. I don't know his badge number. I wish I had it. Okay, but this police officer was a doof. He was a doof. And it is important to recognize that in every profession, there are doofs. So when something bad happens, instead of immediately leaping to the conclusion that it must be systemic racism because police officers hate black folks, instead, we might want to think about the possibility that the police officer is just a doof. The kind of doof who would pull you over for following another police officer. I mean, frankly, if you thought the police officer in front of us was not a police officer and was a civilian impersonating a police officer, he should have given us a medal for making a citizen's arrest against somebody who's impersonating a police officer. It was just insane. It was really funny. Our guys, one of the guys, like, well, should we just? We were kind of behind the other police car when he pulled up to talk to the second officer. He's like, should we pull up? And I was like, no, just sit still. Okay, this guy is super jumpy. I really don't want the headline tomorrow to read, Shapiro and security team shot to death by officer for following a police officer to the airport in a guided tour. It'd be a long headline, number one, and number two, that's a bad way to go. So that's my crazy story from this particular.
Doof. That's a new word. Some police officers are doofs, and some people that get pulled over by police officers are doofs. Some radio hosts are doofs. We got doofs everywhere. But I don't really understand why Ben was pulled over. And it's kind of, don't you find it weird that police officers go and build their own police cars in their spare time?
That's a little nutty, isn't it? That's a little crazy.
I don't believe that happens. Maybe an isolated incident, but come on. So are we now to assume possibly that whoever is pulling us over may not actually be a police officer, but somebody just driving their homemade cruiser around? Pretty scary, don't you think? Now, I've had questions about state questions. And I don't know all the answers to these state questions. That's the toughest thing. You know, besides judges, especially when it comes to retaining or getting rid of federal judges, whatever. But we've got one side, I believe it's 793, state question 793. And I'm going to go ahead and roll this one side. We'll get the other side. But I told you that between now and Election Day, we would talk about some of the state questions on the ballot. Here is a first ad for a state question. Let's roll.
We are families, seniors, hardworking Oklahomans. We support State Question 793. Listen to facts, not scare tactics. With 793, every optometrist will have the same education, licensing, and health regulations they have today, no matter where they practice. 793 won't change quality, it just gives us more options. Even if you don't choose these options, give your fellow Oklahomans the freedom to choose. Vote yes on 793.
Okay, that was 793, and it has to do with optometrists. And I'm guessing it opens it up to Walmart and other places. Is that correct, Frost?
Yeah, some of it does.
Okay.
You can throw them in, though.
All right. So, to me, it gives us more choice. I like more choice. I voted for liquor and beer sales in grocery stores because I think it gives people more choice. Now, at the same time, it gave more of a monopoly to Walmart. I get that. I understand that. That's the way capitalism works, though. I don't want to see mom and pop liquor stores going out of business because Walmart is owning the monopoly. But at the same time, it's a lot more convenient sometimes to pull up to 7-Eleven or OnQ or someplace like that and pick up your beer if you drink and do it that way. I avoid Walmart at all costs. I mean, if Walmart were to be depending on me for their existence, it wouldn't happen. Because I do everything. It is a last resort. If you ever see me in Walmart, it would be because it's a last resort purchase. I have no choice. What I was looking for could only be found there. And that's not very often. I just avoid that place. It stresses me out. It makes me need to go to the pharmacy for some good drugs. All right, Frosty. We've got another video to show. This is about maps. And I have been a strong proponent of the Oklahoma City Maps Project since its inception. The MAPS tax is a penny sales tax that has a sunset clause, meaning that it does expire. We know what's going to be we know what we're voting for. We know exactly what's proposed. The city has some overlap from the last MAPS project. To me, I would prefer to see them put that money forward into the pool for the next MAPS project. But no, you give the government money and they're going to spend it. So they're talking about expanding the river sport adventure, which Frosty didn't even know existed, in which the mayor still owes Frosty a...
He still owes me a ride on
still
river
owes you a
sport.
ride. Still owes you a ride there. But they're looking to put some cool things into the river sport adventure, and also biking trails and sidewalks and the parks, Scissortail Park and the other new park that's going in. I don't have an issue with that, but I just kind of think, all right, you got some overlap there, put it in the next MAPS project. But they won't do that. So they're taking suggestions about MAPS going forward. Here's that story or that ad. I don't know exactly.
It's a story. Aaron Brobeck did it.
It's an Aaron Brobeck. My apologies, Aaron, my good friend. He's going to disown me. Aaron Brobeck, News 9 on the scene, on the story, on the beat.
You know, without the MAPS program, we wouldn't have Bricktown or Chesapeake Arena or River Sport Rapids or Scissortail Park. Now the mayor wants to continue that momentum, but he says he needs your ideas. The MAPS program has put Oklahoma City, well, on the map, with world-class entertainment, recreation, and sports facilities downtown and improvements in schools and roads. Now the mayor wants to continue the penny sales tax for a MAPS 4 project.
So what we're doing today is we're inviting the people of Oklahoma City to dream big again. You know, we've only get these opportunities every decade or so. This is a chance to continue to invest in ourselves without raising taxes. It's the beauty of the idea of MAPS.
And the mayor is talking big and flashy.
I don't have anything big and flashy, but I do think that the infrastructure part needs a little improvement to come up with all the big stuff we're doing, but I don't have anything big and flashy.
More things for families, like maybe more free, activities that we could do outside and be active together and things like that. That'd be great. I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
With all the improvements the city has seen since the first MAPS in 1993, it's hard to come up with more big and flashy ideas. But if you have some, the mayor would like to hear from you. Send your ideas to ideasformaps.com or using social media using the hashtag ideasformaps, or you can mail a letter to Mayor David Holt, attention MAPS 4, 200 North Walker Avenue, 3rd floor, Oklahoma City, 73102.
If we want to put forward to the voters a MAPS 4 package that would not increase the sales tax rate, we would have to be putting that before the voters for their consideration a little under a year from now.
The penny sales tax raises about $100 million per year, so we're talking about spending anywhere from $100 million to $700 million. We're live on the scene on the story in Bricktown. Aaron Brobeck, News 9.
There you go, our friend David Holt. I'm not going to write him. I'm just going to call him on his cell phone. I'm going to say, Mr. Mayor, here's my idea. First of all, we need to pay up on that little campaign promise and take Frosty to the River Sport Adventure. That also included the host, by the way. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I think David Slane was included in there, too.
Was David Slane?
I'm pretty sure.
David Slane hasn't been talking to us lately, so David who? David what?
Right.
Just kidding, David. Anyway, Mayor David Holt, looking for ideas on MAPS 4. Have you got any ideas? Anything? I'd like to see a light rail system. I don't see that happening anytime soon, but I think these trolley cars are kind of silly, especially since they don't run on Sunday. I'd like to see some transportation that takes you from Edmond into the city and down to Norman, maybe out to Midwest City, into Yukon.
I want a subway.
Well, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, a light rail, subway, above the ground, below the ground, whatever. It doesn't really make any difference, but I'm with you on that. We want to be like New York. Come on now.
I just want a reason not to own a car.
A reason not to own a car?
Yes.
I want to ask you a question about the people on the left and their criticism of Kanye West palling up to Donald Trump, and they're calling Kanye West Donald Trump's token Negro. Does that offend you when you hear somebody saying something like that?
I mean,
isn't that racist to assume that because he's black that he must hate Donald Trump? Or just because somebody's black, they must be a Democrat?
I don't think that's what they're getting at, but it's I don't want to get into that.
I didn't think we used Negro since 1960 something. So the 1960s have called and want that word back, first of all. Second of all, to say that Kanye West is a token is ridiculous. Kanye West is a grown man who has the right to support whoever he wants to. And I wasn't happy with Kanye when he bashed President Bush back in the early 2000s and we were at war. Kanye is Kanye. And Kanye will be Kanye. And for Kanye to be marginalized just because he happens to support Donald Trump, to me, to call him a token anything is racist to me. It's not cool. Not cool at all. So anyway, Jim Acosta is one of the most disgusting, vile White House press correspondents ever. This guy is a complete moron. DNCNN's ratings are in the toilet, thanks in part to Jim Acosta from DNCNN. And he got into a fight. He's always really disrespectful to Sarah Sanders, first of all. He tried to be disrespectful to the president, and the president held his own with the guy and didn't really give him any ammunition. Just kind of, it's like, okay, you know what, I'm not playing your game with you, so go ahead and ask the question. But here's some video of Jim Acosta actually being, I'm not just saying he's rude, I'm going to prove he's rude right now. Let's roll the video.
This whole notion of, well, they could learn, they have to learn English before they get to the United States. Are we just going to bring in people from Great Britain and Australia?
Jim, actually, I have to honestly say, I am shocked at your statement that you think that only people from Great Britain and Australia would know English. It reveals your cosmopolitan bias to a shocking degree that in your mind, no, this is an amazing moment. This is an amazing moment. That you think only people from Great Britain or Australia would speak English is so insulting to millions of hard-working immigrants who do speak English from all over the world. Jim, have you honestly never met an immigrant from another country who speaks English outside of Great Britain and Australia? Is that your personal experience?
Of course there are people who come.
But that's not what you said, and it shows your cosmopolitan bias. And I just want to say,
it's like you're trying to engineer the racial and ethnic flow of people into this country.
Jim, that is one of the most outrageous, insulting, ignorant, and foolish things you've ever said.
That's why people don't watch DNCNN. That's why the media's poll numbers are in the toilet. That's why the American people just don't watch. That's why I watched the vote to confirm Brett Kavanaugh on C-SPAN. Because I didn't want to hear any commentators on any network, including Fox. I just wanted to see the vote. We'll take a quick break. We're back right after this. Todd Tucker Show Friday is on. And we're going to take a break, as I said, because Frosty's doing a little break thing. We'll be right back.
Hello, yo! Are you looking for a veteran-owned and operated company on a mission to provide affordable quality firearms gear and training? Well, we've got some friends and fellow warriors over at ArtilleryNation.com that can get you and your troops squared away today. Check them out on Facebook at Artillery Nation LLC or visit ArtilleryNation.com to check out their custom Cerakote projects, firearms training, and t-shirts to show your support for veterans everywhere. Semper.
Do you have problems with pain, anxiety, or sleeplessness? Come see us at Can Help Wellness, where we can help. Stop by any of our 4 wellness centers to find out how premium CBD products can help you find relief. From balms to tinctures to even products for your pets. Natural, safe, organic relief, and lab tested with certifications. Reach out to one of our wellness consultants today at 405-455-3012 or online at cann-help.com.
For those of you who have missed the Todd Tucker Show on the radio, it could be happening again sooner than later. That's all I can say. Could be happening sooner than later. I can't say where, can't say when, can't say how. I can just say, I feel it. Or maybe it's the arthritis, I'm not sure. Frosty, have a great weekend. You have a great weekend as well. I don't have any football to watch this weekend, or as Frosty would say,
the sports balls.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to actually do some work this weekend. God bless you. God bless America. God bless Oklahoma. Remember, the heart of the wise inclines to the right, the heart of the fool to the left. Ecclesiastes 10:2. We'll see you back on Monday, 3 p.m. Central.